India's emergence as a formidable competitor to China in the global market is gaining momentum. With companies like Walmart and Apple shifting their focus to India, it is evident that India's potential as a major player in the world economy is being recognized. This shift in attention comes at a time when China is engaged in trade conflicts and border disputes with India. In response to the border clashes, India has taken decisive measures to reduce Chinese influence, including banning certain Chinese apps and excluding Chinese companies from the telecom gear supply. The wave of nationalism that has swept across the nation has also led to a widespread call for boycotting Chinese products. As a result, China has suffered a significant loss of approximately 1 lakh rupees crore in Diwali-related business alone. Moreover, India is strategically targeting China's manufacturing sector, posing a threat to its position as the world's factory floor. As global supply chains gradually divert away from China to alternate destinations, India has emerged as a promising alternative. This shift in dynamics has been accompanied by India's consistent economic growth, even in the face of global challenges. In contrast, China is grappling with structural issues and a slowing economy, as highlighted by reports from S&P and Moody's. According to S&P, India's GDP is projected to grow by 7% in 2026, while China's economy is expected to grow by only 4.6% in the same year. This trend is also reflected in UBS's prediction that India's growth could reach 6.25 to 6.75% YoY by 2030, under an optimistic scenario. These positive developments, coupled with the ongoing shift in global supply chains due to the US-China trade war and other factors, have the potential to create job opportunities in India. While China remains a key player in global supply chains and continues to attract foreign direct investments, it is facing a decline in the production of certain manufactured goods. In 2022, China accounted for nearly 18% of global goods exports, surpassing the US at 12%. However, recent data suggests a slowdown in production and a loss of momentum in attracting FDIs. In conclusion, India's rise as a competitive force and its ability to challenge China's dominance in the global market is becoming increasingly evident. As the world's attention shifts towards the Indian economy, it is clear that India's potential for growth and development is poised to make a significant impact on the global stage. Amid escalating trade tensions with the United States, China has exhibited a consistent rise in market share since 2018, notably accelerating during the pandemic-induced surge in global demand for goods. China has expanded its global market share across machinery, electronics, chemicals, metals, and automobiles in recent years, although data from 2023 suggests a modest decline. Trade between China and the United States has slowed over the past decade, with Chinese export growth to the United States diminishing from double to single digits. This decline is further reflected in the decrease of Chinese products in US imports, which now account for about 15% as of mid-2023, down from 23% in 2015. In the third quarter, China experienced its first negative foreign direct investment, FDI, inflow since data collection began in 1998. Fitch Ratings points out that this dip in FDI is partially due to temporary factors, such as increased repatriation of earnings by foreign firms, caused by growing interest rate gaps between China and advanced economies. However, structural aspects, including geopolitical concerns, are increasingly impacting the decline in FDI inflows. Fitch believes that incremental FDIs and decisions in supply chain management are inclined to support alternative destinations due to a combination of geopolitical influences and increasing production expenses in China. This trend is expected to facilitate a gradual relocation of supply chains away from China, potentially benefiting other emerging markets in the medium term, including India. Shifts in supply chains are becoming evident in the FDI data of various countries in the Asia-Pacific region, with increased inflows observed. Comparing inflows in the 12 months up to Q23 with the total in 2019 reveals substantial increases in Singapore, 30% to $138 billion US dollars, Malaysia, 18% to $10 billion US dollars, and India, 68% to $31 billion US dollars, as reported by Fitch. India, in particular, has the potential to capitalize on heightened supply chain involvement and emerge as a crucial alternative hub for enterprises seeking to relocate manufacturing operations away from China. Fitch highlights that India is the only country with a large and rapidly growing consumer market and a vast labor force on a scale that rivals China for growth potential. Companies are likely to be attracted to access this market, with supply chain considerations acting as a secondary benefit. Apple, for instance, has begun to shift its focus towards India for iPhone production, reducing its heavy reliance on China, which once manufactured approximately 85% of the Pro lineup of iPhones. Media reports on 6 December suggested that Apple wants Indian factories to manufacture batteries for its forthcoming iPhones. Similarly, retail giant Walmart is importing more goods to the United States from India and reducing its dependence on China in an effort to cut costs and diversify its supply chain, according to Reuters. Walmart's primary country for importing goods, the first 8 months of this year saw only 60% of its shipments originating from China, down from 80% in 2018. During the same period, Walmart obtained a quarter of its imports from India, a substantial increase from a mere 2% in 2018. India has emerged as one of the winners in global manufacturing over the past 5 years, with its exports to the US surging by $23 billion, representing a 44% increase from 2018 to 2022. In contrast, China experienced a 10% decline in exports to the US during the same period, according to a recent study. The Indian government has actively positioned the country as an alternative to China for manufacturing through its Production-Linked Incentives (PLI) scheme. While initial successes have mostly involved low value-added assembly plants, these investments have the potential to integrate India into global supply chains and contribute to upstream manufacturing and industry growth. Notable success stories from India's PLI scheme include Taiwan's Foxconn, the world's largest contract electronics manufacturer, making significant investments to expand electronics manufacturing within India. This move aims to create 100,000 jobs with a $700 million investment. Additionally, Apple's iPhone production in India is expected to increase from 1 in 20 units in 2020 to 1 in 4 units by 2025. Major Indian conglomerate Tata is also partnering with Taiwanese universities to train Indian labor in electronics. To support its supply chain ambitions, India is making efforts to upgrade its infrastructure and close the infrastructure gaps. These efforts include substantial capital spending reaching 3.3% of GDP in FY24. However, India still faces several challenges that may hinder its progress, such as a challenging business environment, protectionist tendencies, and skill mismatches. Regulatory challenges, including a cumbersome business environment and limited labor market reforms, pose obstacles to foreign investments, according to Fitch. While some states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have introduced labor reforms to attract investment, opposition from labor unions hampers progress. High tariffs and limited support for free trade in India may also deter global supply chain integration. Furthermore, there is a significant skill gap in manufacturing technical expertise, despite India's strong high-tech services workforce. This gap needs to be addressed to fully leverage India's manufacturing potential. India has emerged as a significant beneficiary amid global disruptions, marking a departure from the traditional reliance on China as the sole factory floor. However, with China regaining its footing and other countries vying for a share in the manufacturing landscape, policymakers must revise strategies to position India as a thriving export hub. For India to further establish itself as a manufacturing powerhouse, an effective industrial policy is essential. Currently, India lacks a comprehensive industrial policy, relying instead on various government schemes, which amount to approximately 2 trillion rupees and center around production-linked incentives. The implementation of a well-defined industrial policy would underscore the government's objectives and priorities, allowing companies to better navigate the business environment.